All right, so we've got our RX28, which we think we're going to do as a mod car for now. So we've got the brass rear pod portion here. It's a two-piece where this portion is brass, a bumper, and our Lexan body mounts coming. So we'll get to that. We don't have those yet, but for now we're going to do electronics. And I think we're going to do this Furitek that got sent to us with a Greyhound in it. And I believe this is the 5500. I don't remember which one this is, but it's a sensorless.
A few moments later.
So yeah, this is the 1410, which is the 5500. It's a 80 watt 2S, and should work well. And then the Momentum, I believe they sent the 1.0 versus the 2.0. I think the 2.0 has like an auto shut off, so you don't have to worry about turning your car on and off. If you leave it, it'll auto shut off, things of that nature. But this should be good. It's 20 amp, 40 amp brushless, and again, it's sensorless. So maybe not perfect for mod, because I think you kind of want to run a censored setup in mod, but we're going to give it a try. You can't run this motor in mod. You have to run you can't run this motor in super stock for our local club races, or stock even. You have to have the 3500, so that's kind of why we're thinking, well, we'll try it out in mod because this is what we have. So let's open it up and see about how we're going to fit it in here. Oh, you know what? This is the 3500. Maybe we'll run it in super stock instead. That's weird. I thought I guess the 1410 can be 3500 or 5500. I was not aware of that. I thought that the 1410 was the 55, and then another one would have been the 35. My bad. Let's see. The 2098 is what we got.
If you want to say no.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the 2098 Odyssey kit, which is what we got, is the 3500. So that actually works out, because we did intend on doing a super stock with this guy. We do have, we were going to, and then we thought we had a 55, and we're like, let's do mod, so we ordered all the stuff for mod. So who knows? Maybe we'll put it in mod. I don't know what we're doing. 3500 will work in super stock, so maybe we'll just build it as a super stock first, and then build it as a mod, or maybe we'll just get another chassis and we'll do a mod. I don't know. Let's just go with what we got here. So 3500, 0.3 amps with no load, 80 watts, 2S and 3S actually, if the Momentum here. I'm not sure if this runs 3S. I can't remember. I believe it does. And it does have the Bluetooth module, so that's nice. So while I love the aluminum case, we're probably going to have to decase it, and hopefully we can get it still to fit, because this car does not have a lot of space. So we don't have a lot of mounting options here. At least trying to mount it as low as possible, right? Because ideally we want to mount it as low as possible. We could like raise it and mount it a little off of the chassis plate. Have to mount it something like that, but you know, that's not ideal. So we're gonna have to decase this and see if it gives us a lot more ability, a lot more options for mounting anyway. We got this guy uncased. It was a little harder than we expected. I think one of the screws was like super Loctited in, and we had to actually kind of destroy the screw. So we've only got 3 remaining, but we got it out. It is much smaller. Look at the size difference from a width standpoint, right? And a height standpoint. And you're going to lose some weight, so that's good, because you'd rather have it as low weight as possible. And now I'm pretty sure we can get a good fit. We can probably tuck this guy right up in here. It fits right behind the servo beautifully. Okay. I'm not sure if that's our final spot, but maybe. Probably not. Probably not. We're probably gonna, let's see. Could also run something sort of like, let's see, maybe like this. No. But maybe over here. That way we can run the motor wires. Maybe. Alright. Here's our receiver. We're running a Fly Sky Noble. So we got this little guy here. Which one's bigger? Pretty much the exact same size. Obviously there's the wires for the motor, and the battery kind of take up a little extra. Let's see. Maybe we could run this guy this way. Get our servo wire tucked in. Yeah, I think we like that. Hopefully it'll still fit once we get our servo tape under there to hold it down. Yeah, we should be good there though. So we'll probably run like that. And then maybe we'll run this guy out the side, like so. Maybe like this. That could be a good setup. We're gonna have to think on this a little bit. So we're gonna do that, and we'll get back to you with our final decision. All right, so we want to go ahead and bind up real quick just to test, and I like to have things bound while I'm working on it so I can test along the way. We're set up with our model name, RX28, 2-channel, super fast, all that good stuff. And we should be able to go in here. Go ahead and get our receiver in bind mode. Hold the little bind button here. Go ahead and hold that little bind button all the way down and plug it in. Okay. We'll start bind. Ta-da! Just like that. Cool. All right. So we know all of our electronics work so far, other than the motor. We gotta test that too, but we're good there. And I think this is how we're gonna end up setting it up. Feels like there's plenty of space like this. I can resolder the motor wires so they're facing up versus out. That's probably the only thing I'll have to resolder really, just so they face upward. It'll give us a little bit better, a little bit more room. I mean, I don't have to resolder them, but I think I want to. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just leave it as it is. Not too bad. We'll just go ahead and tape that stuff down. Simple. We'll run our motor wires across the top here. And yeah, should be as clean as that. A little note, you do have to remove the rear axle to be able to get the pod in, or the motor in the pod, because otherwise it's just too tight and you can't flex the pod at all. And it will not, I mean, I couldn't get it to fit. I don't know, maybe there's some trick that I'm missing, but I could not get it to fit no matter how I did it. So you definitely need to pop the back off, and then you can kind of flex it in there. You can just kind of give yourself just enough room. I guess you could trim this, right? It looks like it's mostly getting hung up on this right here. And you could probably trim that down a little to get it to fit. But if you don't want to trim, you should be able to just pull the rear end off, and then this will bend just enough to get your motor in there. One of the cool things about this motor is that you can change it out to a sensored motor. You don't have to buy the whole new motor. There's just there's upgrade parts if you want to go from a sensorless to a sensored. So that's pretty cool. One thing I do not like is it doesn't come with motor screws. I don't know if that's normal or standard at all, but there's no motor mount screws, and it doesn't tell you anywhere on the site. There's no instructions or anything on what size they are. So you just kind of have to figure it out, I guess. So that kind of sucks. But we do like that you can upgrade them to sensored if you want to run mod, or whatever class lets you run sensored motors. So we kind of figured, but it's just your standard M2 screws. Just so you know, it's nothing special. But it would be nice if they listed that. They list everything else, just for newer people. You want to get new people into the hobby, you got to kind of hold their hand a little bit. And I'm fairly new, so it kind of annoyed me that I couldn't find out what size screws I needed. I just had to test them. Again, I'm not just, I don't know every screw size and what the standards are, so, but it is an M2. And then we're going to have to find a pinion. We don't know what pinion we're going to run yet. Something kind of nice, they label which wire is which, so A, B, and C. And then on the motor as well, you can see they're labeled A, B, and C. So you know which wire goes where very easily. So that is a nice thing. We decided to go with this layout. Seems to fit nice and tight. We're going to go ahead and run our wires now. Now, when you're soldering, always make sure you tint your wires and the location they're going. If there's not already solder on there, you need to add a little bit. You basically heat the pad, touch the solder to the pad. Don't touch the solder to the soldering iron. You're heating the pad with a wire and then putting the solder onto that and letting that melt the solder. I've already done the motor here, and I'm just doing the wires. So you basically just want to get a little bit of solder on the tip of the wire and let it kind of melt down in just a little bit. And now you've got solder on both ends, the wire and on the motor. And you want to go ahead and test place where you're going to put it Okay. See, that's kind of how we want it. You know it's going to fit, it's going to work, and then you just go ahead and touch your soldering iron to it, and the solder on the wire and the solder on the motor or board should just melt it together. And there you have it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do our third one. Could probably shorten these up just a little bit, but we're going to leave it for now. We can tighten it up a little bit more later. You can even tighten up your servo wire if you really want to get crazy with it and rewire it so that you don't have all this extra. But we'll probably be fine just tucking that down. We're also going to probably shorten our battery lead here just a little bit. But what we're doing now is centering our servo. Our servo horn wasn't completely centered. The easiest way to do that is just to pop these two screws off. And then you can kind of just lift it up and get in there with your Phillips head and readjust your servo horn that way. All right, and one more thing I wanted to show about this chassis is you can adjust the steering Ackerman with these two screws here. There's slotted on the carbon fiber here. This brace is not perfectly round, it's a slot, and it actually allows you to slide the servo forward and backwards. So just be aware when you're mounting your electronics to leave space for that servo to move back and forward. If you've mounted it all the way forward, you put your electronics in there and they're all nice and tight, you're not going to be able to move your servo back. So you need to have a little bit of back and forth movement here. We're pretty tight on this side, but I think it moves all the way back, or close to it anyway. So, but you can see up here, this is moving forward and backward, and that's, again, that's what adjusts the Ackerman and the steering. Okay. So everything's hooked up. Everything's working. Got our steering centered. We don't know if we're totally trimmed right, obviously, till we run it. And then we've got our throttle. You can hear it. We don't have our pinion yet, but once we get our pinion on there, we'll be good to go. We do know that our motor is going in reverse. Well, not reverse. Well, kind of. So it's spinning. It will make our car go in reverse, but the motor is correct, right? So for everything set to normal, we're correctly wired. It's just meant to be flipped to the other side. So what that means, though, is you've got it forward. I don't know if you can hear it, but if I go to reverse, it brakes and reverses. And if I flip the throttle on here and we do that, now our reverse is fine. But then when we go to throttle, it stops. So it's got that reverse brake. So what that means is we have to go into our Bluetooth settings, and we'll hook up our Bluetooth module, and we will go into our phone settings and, well, in the Furitek app, and we will swap around the motor settings. We want to go in there and kind of look at it and mess with it anyway. I'm not going to get too in depth because there's a lot you can do in the app, but we'll show you the basics. All right, so we're searching for Bluetooth. You can see we've got our car, and there we are. You can see all of our telemetries. Okay. And you can go ahead and mess with all this stuff. This is live data recording happening here. But what we need to do is go into our settings, and we go into rotation direction, counterclockwise. And then you can change your startup power, your different modes, forward with brake, forward reverse, and what we're going to use, which is forward reverse with brake. We also have a low voltage cutoff, which we're going to go ahead and set at 3.2. And then the settings below, max forward, max reverse, max brake, drag brake. You can change all those settings as you run your car and figure out what you want. You also have your throttle adjustments, your punch, your neutral brake. You can calibrate it all. And then your neutral forward, narrow, normal, wide, super wide. We'll just leave it on normal. We're probably going to go ahead and calibrate here. Yes. Car beeps, says set 0 speed, so basically don't touch your transmitter. And we'll set max speed, pull your throttle. And set max brake, pull your throttle. Well, brake. And then, yep, we'll go ahead and save, and now you can see it's all zeroed out. The car resets, and our throttle is set to 0 now. Okay. And there's a bunch of advanced settings if you want to turn those on, which is enable your boost. You get timing boost and start and stop KRPMs, and then you can enable turbo. I'm not sure what all of this does, but it's there to mess with, which is one of the cool things about the Furitek stuff. All right. And again, there's all sorts of different settings and cool stuff to mess with. And we use these on our crawlers a lot too. So the SCX24 They have a bunch of, Furitek has a bunch of cool options for that, and it uses the same app, and you're able to set all of the same cool settings. Alrighty, let's get back at it. Alright, here's what we got. We got ourselves a pinion. I don't know if it's going to be the one we're going to run with in the end, but we had an extra, so we threw it on there. Got ourselves some wheels and tires. Well, wheels, and not really tires yet. We got some extra tires upstairs, just didn't put them on. We're not going to run these either because we got a set of these coming in black. They're going to be +3s in the rear, +0s in the front. I don't even know what these are. These look like they might be +3s, but it's hard to say. I'm not good at that yet. But yeah, we got +3s in the rear coming, +0s in the front, black, these. And then we got Mark of 5 treadeds for the rears and KSM mediums for the front. We'll see how that does. But yeah, we're good to go here. We got our steering, our endpoints are set. We got some throttle, brake, reverse. Sounds good. Our mesh is good. And we just need a body and finish our actual tires. We'll be back.
A few moments later.
And now we're gonna do the body. So I want to first apologize to Reflex Racing and Christian for not using the gold standard body on here. The Jumarama, just because I wanted to do something different. So we're going to have a little bit of a performance decrease, maybe arguably so, but we're not going to be able to do a Lexan roof and all that goodness. But hey, the car's performance should make up for that pretty well. So we figured we'll do something a little different. And if we really want to get real competitive with it, we'll obviously go to a Jumarama or like I said, we've got a bunch of Lexan stuff coming. So we've got a Lexan body. And we're going to get the bumper and the mounts and all that. So we may just end up going mod with it instead of super stock. We'll see. I don't know yet. We originally intended mod, but I don't have that stuff. And the electronics that we're running, the 3500 and, you know, all that good, it's not censored. So we figured super stock works for that. And like I said, later we can do mod. So putting this body on, it's mentioned by Reflex that you have to mount your body mounts slightly further back or forward, excuse me. So instead of mounting them like this, you're going to mount them in front of the posts like that. It's just basically a millimeter, if that. And the reason for that is because of the way they've been able to line up the whole rear pod, right? This is a single axis. And so to do that and still fit this stock body clips or a hard body, they had to move it forward, which is not a big deal. You're able to remove the body clips off here without any real damage, and then we're just going to remount it. On this body, for some reason, there were actually little ledges kind of on here, so we couldn't get our body clips as low as we need them. They need to be pretty low on here so that the body sits lower. And so we had to Dremel that off, and Dremel off this front lip was extended kind of like this. Both of these were kind of sticking out. These were actually sticking out a lot more, and they were hitting on these guys here. So we Dremeled them down a little bit and had to take these all the way down so that this would slide forward because it goes over that part. I don't think the Jumaramas have it like that. I don't think they have the shell for any of that that these sit on. So on a Jumarama, it'll be a lot easier. On this one, we had to do a little bit of work. Not a big deal though. Another thing of note that I noticed, the body clips, when they go in, you can't probably see it on camera. I'll try to get it here. But they actually do hit the spring perches just barely. So maybe in future revisions, they could scoot the spring perch here just back, maybe, I don't know, 0.5 millimeter. Probably not much at all because it just barely fits in there. And it barely hits, but it does hit on it. And it'll actually turn the perch every time you put the clip in. Maybe not every time, but depends on where your perch is sitting, I guess. But it'll hit it, and you can feel it kind of get tight and get pushed up against the perch. Kind of right there. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Nothing to worry about there. You could always, I mean, the obvious answer is to trim just a little bit off of here. You could just kind of take off like that. Or shave this down just a little bit. And you'd be fine. But, again, in future revisions, maybe that would be nice. As little modifying as possible is always good for the end consumer. You know, if they want to modify things, they can, but they shouldn't have to. Oh, we also had to shave down the front for some reason. And I don't know if it's the body clip or what's going on, but it was not going far enough forward to get our correct alignment. We were too far back and our tires would have hit a little bit, or possibly, I don't know if they would have for sure, but we just wanted to make sure they were perfectly centered as much as possible. So we just trimmed this off just a little bit, and we had to trim it down this side a little bit. I think it was getting, I think it tapers on the inside of the body here, to keep it nice and snug, and it was just tapering too quickly and not letting it get deep enough into the front mount. So took a little off there, took a little off the sides, took a little off the front. All right, enough on that. That's pretty trivial stuff. We're all ready to go. Brand new Mark 5s on the rear, KSM mediums on the front, a little bit of super glue, trued all the way down to a 22.8 to start. We got our transponder soldered in, and we should be good to go. We're gonna go try to run it. So I'll tell you what, the car is fast. It is super fast. And the Furitek motor with the ESC is just ridiculous. You got so much punch, it's ridiculous. I can't drive it very well. I'm just not good enough yet. And I've never really ran a car this fast, so it's kind of a learning experience for me. But I'll tell you what, this motor and ESC combo is ridiculous quick. I'm smoking everybody on the straightaway. If I could just keep the car, I got a lot of understeer right now, so it pushes super hard, but we have a lot of binding in the front end, so we have to work on the front end a lot. These A-arms are, they need a little work. They're tight, but like I said before, you'd rather have them tight than have them too loose. You can always work them in, so that's good. But I got to work it a little bit more. It was also my first time building this level of car, so I'm learning a lot. Hopefully you guys are learning along with me. See how it just pulls on the straightaway. It's so fast on the straightaway. And it's not even 100% right now. It's at like 80%. But it kind of pushes through the turns. Part of that again is the front end is very tight. You loosen up the front end. Ooh. Loosen up the front end. Loosen up the front end. All right.
Oh, here's your radio, bud.
Too fast.
We're checking Ken's motor.
This is the Furitek Odyssey combo. It's got
says
the Greyhound 3500.
3500. The rule states it's got to be below 3800 kV. We'll see if Ken's cheating here. Ken is totally cheating.
I saw 4,800.
That was not 3500.
Let's see. Let's get a good reading.
Oh shit.
57.
Well,
So Ken is doubly cheating.
it's twice as
Not
fast.
just a 3500, but almost a 6,000
Yeah,
kV motor.
Well, the box says 35.
And you smoked me.
So how do you deal with that if you want to run this motor?
This is a mod motor. So the manufacturers, they say it doesn't really matter what's written on the side of the motor.
So you're telling me if I bought the same motor but the 5500, we'd probably be at like 7 or 8.
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
So there's really no set standard for what they put on the can to what's actually inside the motor. So like the GL motor is different than the PN motor, and the PN motor is different than the rocket motor. There's no set standard. So what we did was, to make it fair, we said, okay, we're going to tech the motors, and it's got to be below 3,800 kV. So it doesn't matter what motor you have now or what you really do to it. As long as it techs below 3,800,
Gotcha.
they're good.
So if a motor techs above that, there's nothing you can really do to make it, to scale it back.
The other way and make it go
You
down a little
could
bit.
mess with the shims. You can change the rotor.
Okay.
But in the rules, it states you're not supposed to change the rotor, because we went down that route with the PN motors and it got
Gets
out
messy.
of hand.
Yeah.
So the official rule is it's got to tech below 3,800 and you can't change the rotor.
Just say excuse me and he'll move.
All right,
I
that's-
didn't know you were there.
that's it. So it's good.
Okay,
to see.
well, good to know. That's why we're smoking everybody on the straightaway, because we're a 6,000 kV basically.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So I'm going to start with a huge thank you to Corey at Hobbytown for running the car and smashing it into somebody else's car and completely destroying it. Pretty awesome to see. All jokes aside, Corey couldn't do anything about that. Watch the video in slow-mo. You can see what happened. Somebody nailed the wall and backed. I don't know if they backed into it, but they were right in his way, and there's no stopping, especially with how quick this thing was. Also, Corey felt super bad, but it wasn't a big deal. And even if something major had broken, that's the risk you take when you're racing, and yeah, I wouldn't be upset, especially since I asked him to drive the car and help me out. The chassis survived completely. Nothing was wrong here. And in fact, when I said we might have fixed our front end, I think we might have fixed our front end. Probably from running it, not really from the wreck, but it's much more loose now. The Kyosho body, on the other hand, did explode. We lost our windshield and our lights. We lost one of our clear lenses here. But again, it all glued back in. Nothing actually broke. So that's awesome. Some think that Corey might have done it on purpose because he told me I should run a Jimurama body, and I told him I want to run the R8 just because I want to be different, and he did not like that. So I think he might have done it on purpose, but who knows? Anyway, he did make it right. He hooked us up with a Jimurama, so we might end up throwing that on here, I guess. But other than that, the car's awesome. The car handles amazing. The RX28 is just smooth, and the electronics, the Furitek Momentum with this Greyhound. I mean, you heard everybody talking about how crazy fast it was, and you saw the dyno of it. Dyno, I don't know if it's really a dyno, but the little tech session that we had, and yeah, it was like 6,000 kV. Do you know why? Because it's not a 3,500, guys. Even though the box, look, even though the box says 3,500, if I looked closely, and we didn't notice until after we pulled the whole thing apart again, you're not gonna be able to see it. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it, but it says 5,500 right there on the can. The box said 3,500, and the kit says it comes with a 3,500. So I don't know, maybe they're both using the same part number. I don't know what happened there. Either way, it's a fantastic motor, fantastic ESC. The guys said, both Corey and another gentleman that ran it, Antonio, that are much more experienced than I, said that the motor and ESC just felt real smooth, and they really liked the throttle control and the kind of the ramp on the acceleration, and they were very impressed by that, even knowing that, after the fact that it was a 5,500 versus a 3,500. Obviously, everybody was like, what the heck is going on? That car is not a 3,500. It's way too fast. But now we know why. We even have some commentary of the guys, we'll put it at the very end, from the Rocky Mountain Mini Z group, where we live stream all of our races every week. So if you want to check that out, check out Rocky Mountain Mini Z, and you can watch our races every week and comment and whatever. But you can hear the commentary about them wondering, why is that car so fast? But like I said, now we know. Anyway, I'm loving this car. I need to get another motor if I want to run it in super stock, so we'll have to get a 3,500. But we like the speed control for sure, and the car, the chassis, this RX28 is just sick. It's a sick car. So yeah, if you're still watching this video all the way at the end, go ahead and put smash them. We're gonna put smash them in the comments. Comment down below, smash them. All right, guys, that's all I gotta say. Go ahead and like and share and subscribe, all those things that you do at the videos you like, and hit the bell if you're a subscriber. That way you're notified when new videos come up. Yeah, and until next time, get out there and run your cars. Smash them, crash them, and bash them, but don't break the expensive parts, just the bodies. Don't break this part, just this part.
Oh, you don't want that on film. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, your car is freaking ridiculously. We haven't. Well, he says it's geared 1053. So I'm like, well, does it have a rotor in it? Because it's like ridiculously fast. It is. When I drive it, I'm like, holy crap, this thing is just darts. Look at that.
8,500 or something.
Yeah, don't let Corey your vehicles because he breaks them all. He just
No survivors. Paramedics on
Woo, 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 woo.
Damn, Corey owes Ken a brand new car. Like Michael says, he just wants to sell parts.
When it kind of pushes through the turns, part of that again is the front end is very tight. You loosen up the front end. Ooh. You loosen up the front end. You loosen up the front end. All right. Oh, here's your radio, bud. Too fast.